Hello children, Class 3, Lesson 1. SINBAD the sailor. Here sailor means a person who works or operates on a ship or a boat. This story is about the famous sailor SINBAD. He discovered many strange places and things on his 7 voyages on the sea. Look at the following pictures, draw a line and match the pictures to the words given below. Children, look at these 3 pictures and match them to the correct words given below. It was a clear day when we set sail from Baghdad. We stopped at many places and sold a lot of goods. One day, we landed on an island. All of us plucked fruits and flowers on the island. After a good meal, I fell asleep on the shore. Here, Sinbad with his group, they started their journey from Baghdad. They stopped at many places and they sold their goods. Goods means things that can be bought and sold. After that, they landed on an island. Here, island means a piece of land with water on all its sides. Then they plucked fruits and flowers on the island. After that, they had their meal. Then Sinbad fell asleep on the shore. When he woke up, the ship was gone and he could not see anyone on that island. And he was thinking, what happened? Where is my ship and where these men were? Then suddenly something fell near me. It was a chunk of meat. Then I saw that there were several chunks of meat everywhere. Okay, suddenly he saw that something fell near him. What was that? It was a chunk of meat, large or thick piece of meat. Then he saw that there were several chunks of meat everywhere. I could see some men throwing huge pieces of meat on the valley from the hills. Okay, he saw that some group of men throwing huge pieces of meat on the valley from the hills. Huge pieces means large pieces of meat on the valley from the hills. Here, hills means mountains. As they threw the meat chunks, many huge birds came flying down and picked the meat with their claws. Okay, as the men threw the meat chunks, many huge birds came flying down. They picked the meat with their claws. Claws means the long curved nails of a bird. I wanted to know who were these men and why they were throwing meat for the birds. So Sinbad, he wanted to know that who were these men were and why they were throwing meat for the birds. Then I noticed something shining under one of the meat chunks. It was a diamond. A bird picked it up and rose high up in the air. After that, he noticed that something was shining under the meat chunks. What was that? It was a diamond. A bird came down and it took the meat chunk which had diamond and it rose up high in the air. Then things became clear to me. These men wanted the diamonds, but they were too scared to come down to the valley as there were snakes everywhere. So they were throwing meat chunks in the hope that some diamonds would get stuck to them. Okay, now Sinbad had understood what was happening there. So the group of men there want diamonds, but they're scared to come down to the valley because there were snakes everywhere. So they were throwing meat chunks in hope that some diamonds would get stuck to them. I wanted to know where the birds were flying off with the meat and how the men collected the diamonds. So he wanted to know that how the people were collected the diamonds. Here collected means gathered. So I thought of a plan. I tied a large piece of meat to my body using my turban. Okay, here he had a plan that he tied a large piece of meat to his body using his turban. Turban means a long piece of cloth. One of the birds saw the piece of meat I had tied myself to. It picked me up and carried me to its nest at the other end of the island. I found the nest filled with diamonds. I had to come out of the nest quickly as the birds in the nest were ready to feed on the meat. One of the birds saw the piece of meat which Sinbad tied himself. So the bird picked him up and carried him to its nest at the other end of the island. In that island, Sinbad saw the nest filled with diamonds. So he thought to come out of the nest as early as possible because the birds in the nest were ready to feed on the meat. That means the birds were ready to eat the meat. So he wanted to come out of it. I hid close to the nest for some hours. Then I noticed some of the men who were throwing the meat chunks were coming towards the nest. They scared the bird away and started picking the diamonds. So there in that other island, Sinbad hid close to the nest. After some hours, he noticed that the men who were throwing the meat chunks were coming towards the nest. They scared the bird away and they started picking the diamonds. When I approached them, they were surprised to see me. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" asked one of them. I told them how I had come there. Okay, when he came near to them, one of them asked Sinbad that, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" After that, Sinbad told about him, how he came there. After listening to my story, they told me that they were traders and that their ship was at the other end of the island. They also told me that they often came to the island after hearing about its riches from an old man. So after listening his stories, they told about themselves that they were traders. Traders means people who buy and sell things, and that their ship was at the other end of the island. They also told that they often came to the island because before they heard about the riches of the island from an old man. The traders allowed me to take some diamonds. Then they took me on the ship and we set sail. At the nearest port, I exchanged some of the diamonds for some goods. Okay, the traders gave Sinbad some diamonds and they took him on the ship. They set sail. At the nearest port, here port means a place where ships load and unload things. The nearest port, he exchanged. Exchanged means to take something by giving something in return. So he exchanged. He gave some diamonds and he took some goods. From there, I finally went back to Baghdad. I lived happily with the riches I had gained. So finally, he went back to Baghdad with that some diamonds and goods. So he lived happily with the riches which he had gained. Okay, children, now I will read glossary and antonyms related to our story. First glossary: goods, things that can be bought and sold. Island, a piece of land with water on all its sides. Chunk, large or thick piece of something. Claws, the long curved nails at the end of an animal's or a bird's feet. Collected, gathered. Turban, a long piece of cloth tied around the head. Feed on, to eat. Approached, came near. Traders, people who buy and sell things. Port, a place where ships load and unload goods. Exchange, to take something by giving something in return. Gained, got. Now antonyms: clear, unclear, sold, bought, asleep, awake. Huge, tiny, noticed, unnoticed, found, lost. surprised, disappointed, allowed, disallowed, went, came. Okay, children, hope you understood. Thank you.